you've been through, why you got scars. Since you walked through the door, I've been trying to reach you, 'cause I feel you. What's the story to tell? What's the story behind the mountain you're trying to climb? Think I've heard it before.
Guys, welcome back to another video, or if you are brand new here and this is the very first time you ever see my face, what's up? I am Jen. I have another meal prep video coming at you guys. I'm not going to gab a ton before we jump into the video because the sun is finally out. As you can see, it's starting to blind me and I want to go get some steps in today. It is nice and cool out. It actually was drizzling and raining earlier, but like I said, now the sun is finally out, so I want to go knock out some steps. But if you want to see what I prepped up this week to keep me trucking along on my health journey, just keep watching. First up for meal prep this week is going to be some ranch salsa verde chicken. I am actually prepping this the night before. I'm going to cook this in the crock pot tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it in a Ziploc and get it marinating tonight. I actually saw this recipe from Chris Powell, I believe, on Instagram. I believe he is at Real Chris Powell or something. I'll do it and link it down below. But he did some chicken thighs. I'm going to do some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I'm also going to add some boneless, skinless chicken breast tenderloins. I'm going to add some of this Flavor God ranch dressing. You could just do like a Hidden Valley ranch packet if you want to. This just has like way cleaner ingredients. And then I'm going to add this entire jar of mild salsa verde and some complete seasoning. And then I'm just going to let this marinate all night, and I'm going to toss it in the crock pot tomorrow when I'm doing all the rest of my meal prep. Everything is mixed together and ready to go. I'm going to pop this in the fridge overnight, and then we'll throw it in the crock pot in the morning. Okay, so my chicken thighs and chicken breasts have been marinating all night long in the fridge, and now I've actually decided to slow cook them in my Dutch oven in the oven rather than the crock pot. I'm going to make something else in the crock pot for tonight's dinner. So I'm going to throw these in my Dutch oven, and I'm going to put them in the oven at about 300. Y'all, these are already smelling out of this world. Now I'm going to pop them in the oven for a few hours and knock out the rest of meal prep while it's cooking. Next up for meal prep is my chicken cranberry salad. I showed this a couple weeks ago, I think, before I went to Vegas, but it's such an awesome recipe that is so easy and so delicious and easy to have throughout the week that I am meal prepping it again this week. I'll go over the amounts as we mix it all up in just a sec, but the ingredients are super easy. I am using some of the cranberries from Nut Stop. Love them. Always have a link down below if you guys want to try any of their stuff for 10% off. I'm going to use 2 cans of this Brookdale White Premium Chunk Chicken Breast. I believe I get this one from Aldi's, or no, maybe Winn-Dixie. It's 98% fat-free, has super good macros, 60 calories a serving, 11 grams protein, 1 fat, and 1 carb. And I use 2 cans of that. Some light mayo, salt, pepper, celery seed, some chopped red onions. I have 40 grams here. And then I'll use 1 container of this 0% Fage Greek yogurt. So we'll go ahead and get all this mixed up. Both cans of chicken are in there. It comes to 369 grams. We're going to add our 40 grams of chopped red onion, some Redmonds real salt because that's the best ever, some pepper, celery seed, 55 grams of mayo, 1 full container of the Greek yogurt. Going to add probably about 50 grams of the cranberries. 55 grams of cranberries. Now we'll mix all this up. Next up for meal prep is some Mexican coleslaw. You guys know I love regular coleslaw and I like meal prepping it from time to time. It makes for an awesome addition to lunch or a side for dinner or any of that. I'm actually going to be pairing this with Taco Tuesday's dinner as well as having it throughout the week at lunchtime, so I am super stoked for it. The original recipe that I am following actually called for 2 bags of 16 ounces of the tricolor coleslaw, but I got these from Target and they are 8 ounces a piece, so I just cut the rest of the ingredients down some also. So I have 2 bags of the Good and Gather tricolor coleslaw, 77 grams of chopped red onion, I have some fresh chopped cilantro here, 4 teaspoons of honey, 28 grams of sliced jalapenos. The original recipe called for fresh, but they were out at Target and I just had these on hand, so we don't like a ton of heat anyway, so I just did like a small amount of that and I think it'll be perfect. And then also some lime juice, ground cumin, and Badia complete seasoning. So let's go ahead and get all this mixed up. So I'm gonna start by mixing some of the liquid stuff together first. It calls for a 1/2 cup of lime juice, which seems like a ton to me, so hopefully this turns out good. The original recipe actually called for a cup, but that was with the double amount of coleslaw, so I just cut it down to a 1/2 cup. Go ahead and add in our jalapenos, our onions. I've already pre-weighed all of this out. I gotta tell you guys, I was pretty skeptical about this, but it smells incredible. I'm gonna pop it in the fridge and stay tuned to see how it turned out. Next up, we are going to be making some high protein banana bread cake. I am super excited for this recipe. It sounds absolutely delicious. And I always have a ton of overripe bananas in my freezer that I need to use up. Either my fruit lasts about 36 seconds in my house or it rots. There's really no in between. You guys let me know down below if you have the same struggle with your crew with fruit. But anyway, so I always, when they are getting like overripe or bad, I will peel them, throw them in a Ziploc bag, put them in the freezer. And so I have a bunch in there that I need to use up. So this is the perfect recipe for that. So I have 300 grams that I've thawed out of my overripe bananas here. I have 80 grams of oat flour. I just used some rolled oats and hit it in the NutriBullet. I'm going to be using 100 grams of the Cake Pop PEScience. You could get creative and use whatever flavor of protein powder that you want to. The original recipe does call for PEScience, so I'm not sure, you might have to trial and error if you're using a different kind of protein powder that is not a whey casein blend. I'm not sure how that would work out, but this one is, and the Cake Pop is bomb, so that's what I'm using. Then also we're going to add 32 grams of honey, some maple and butter extract, just because why not, a teaspoon of baking powder, teaspoon of cinnamon, 84 grams of butter. The original recipe calls for light butter, but I just don't do the fake stuff. I'd rather have the extra calories and have the real thing. But if you want to make these macros even better and you are a fan of the light butter, then more power to you. You could definitely do that. And then we're also going to add in some of the 0% Fage Greek yogurt. So we'll go ahead and get this baby mixed up and then throw it in the oven. So we're going to go ahead and start with our dry ingredients first. We're going to weigh out this protein powder. The original recipe actually calls for 93 grams. That's 95, and that sounds good. I'll tell you the exact macros of this when I am done mixing everything together. 80 grams of oat flour, cinnamon, we measure with our heart around here, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. We're gonna mix this all up really good together, and then we're gonna mash the bananas with it. So you can see the texture now that I've mashed all the bananas up with the dry ingredients. Now we're just going to incorporate all the rest of the wet ingredients. We added 123 grams of the Greek yogurt. We're going to add the butter, a little splash of butter extract, a little splash of maple, because why not, and the honey. Then we're just gonna give this all a good mix. Okay, so I ended up adding the rest of that Greek yogurt because as you can see, there was only just a little bit left and I didn't want to save it in the container or waste it. So went ahead and threw that in there. I adjusted it in Carb Manager. Gonna finish mixing this up and get it in the casserole dish. So I have an 8x8 casserole dish here that I've just lined with some parchment paper, made the sides a little higher so that you can kind of use them as handles to pull the cake out when it is done. I hit it with a little bit of this non-stick avocado oil spray. So we're gonna go ahead and get the batter poured in there. All right, so I always have my epic fails included in these videos and things I forgot, and today is no different, but OMG, I completely forgot to add the 2 eggs that the recipe called for. So I just had to take it off the parchment paper, back in the mixing bowl, throw the eggs in there. I'm going to mix these up and put it back in the casserole dish, and hopefully this still turns out good. All right, now that's pouring way better. Okay, so I have the batter all in there. It says to try to get the surface as level as you can, which I have done here. Topped it with a little bit of cinnamon. Now we're gonna pop it into the oven, which I have preheated at 350 degrees. It says about 28 to 32 minutes, so we'll check it at the 28-minute mark. I mean, look at this beauty. You see it bubbling. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys could smell this. I'm gonna let it sit and chill just for a couple minutes, and then I will pull it out by the parchment paper and throw it on a cooling rack and let it cool down, and then we'll throw the icing on top. Okay, so I've had the banana bread cake, which by the way smells and looks phenomenal, cooling for about an hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and top it with the frosting. I have both of these sugar-free frostings. I have the Pillsbury Creamy Supreme Vanilla Sugar-Free Frosting, and then I have the Birch Benders Vanilla Frosting. No added sugar. This one has 1 net carb per serving. This one has like 7 net carbs per serving. This is 100 calories a serving, and this one is 120 calories a serving. However, this one definitely has better ingredients than this, but I'll end up using both of them throughout the holiday baking, so I'll let you guys know which one I think is better. I'm going to go with this one today. I'll probably use less than a half of this or so on the cake, but I'll tell you the exact amounts once I get the cake all frosted. And here is this week's meal prep. We have our veggies and fruit cut up for the week for snacks and dinner. Have our Mexican slaw, which smells amazing. Stay tuned to see how it turned out. Cranberry chicken salad, salsa verde chicken. This is going to be awesome because I can throw some of the chicken on a salad. I can make up some Natural Heavens brown rice. I could do a ton of stuff with this. I've already tasted it. It is like thebomb.com. I will definitely be making this more often. And stay tuned to see how the banana bread cake turned out. Put the icing on it, topped it with a little bit of cinnamon, smelling spot on. And that will be a wrap for this week's meal prep. Guys, that's a wrap for another meal prep video. Everything turned out amazing this week. We almost had an epic disaster, as you saw, with the banana bread cake. I always forget something. I don't know how I forget to put the eggs out there, but thank God I looked over the Carb Manager before I was getting ready to throw it in the oven. I thought the consistency of the batter was a little bit off, but I didn't even think about it. But when I was going over the Carb Manager, I saw the eggs. Thank God, because that would have been an epic fail. It turned out awesome. Hubby ate half of it. He absolutely loved it, so that's definitely a win. We'll be making that again for sure. The salsa verde chicken was probably the hit. That was amazing. It was super easy to make, and you could make it in the slow cooker, your crock pot, rather than slow cooking it in the Dutch oven. But I was already using my crock pot for dinner on that evening that I was meal prepping, so I just went ahead and threw it in the Dutch oven, and it came out phenomenal. Chicken cranberry salad is always a go-to, simple, easy, and delicious, and it makes for an awesome meal prep. Any of those salads, like chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad, I highly recommend those. Keeping it super simple and easy for meal prep is the way to go. You don't have to be all complicated and in depth and take like hours and hours in the kitchen batch cooking or making a ton of sides and all of that. You can make up a few simple salads that will help keep you on track through the week. So especially this time of year when you're doing a lot of other holiday baking and parties and cooking and all of that, it just makes sense to keep it simple during the day for lunch. So those salads are like a go-to. Prepping some veggies and fruit, always a go-to, super simple and easy, and you're ready to rock and roll through the week. Also, I did notice that the camera was like zoomed in super close on some of the filming. I'm going to use my other tripod and make sure it's zoomed all the way out for my next meal prep video. I was noticing that when I was editing, so sorry about that. I hope that it's still clear to like see everything. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys get some ideas ideas from these meal prep videos and they help you out. If it did, definitely give me a thumbs up so I know to keep these coming. And make sure to subscribe before you guys leave. Click your notifications, that way you don't miss out on any other videos. And of course, thank you so very much for watching, and I will catch y'all in the next video.
Sometimes it really feels like I lose control. Honestly, I can't even